Hey there, it's another beautiful day. It's also the 4th of July, so happy Independence Day to my fellow Americans. Let's watch some stuff.
Anyone noticing more of these blue lights in most places, streets around the UK?
Lucifer, now in San Francisco. First ones I've seen. And guess where they're at? The United States Post Office.
Lucifer
I'm trying
bus.
to catch this bus right now, guys, to show you the audacity of what they're doing. Look, it's blue. And once she stops and opens the door, it's gonna turn white. Does this bus go to Miami? Thank you. Look, 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 look. They have no idea, guys. None. They're all getting skinned up in there.
There's these theories about these blue lights, okay? They're like supposedly either like scanning you or they're changing your brain waves and they're altering your behavior or controlling your mind, and they're suddenly popping up like on the streets, like in places where they never were before, in obviously, like these say, in the UK and the United States, and I don't even know where else. So it's really interesting. I did find this though.
This is Chase Bank. They have purple lights inside the buildings.
Are purple lights being used to manipulate your brain? There's a new theory that purple lights are being installed in public areas to control your brain using optogenetics. Optogenetics is a technique used in neuroscience research where brain cells are controlled with light. So could this be happening? Well, brain cells are not naturally responsive to light. To make them activate in response to light, you need to inject the cells with a virus that causes them to create a protein called channel rhodopsin. And I know what you're thinking. Vaccines. Well, vaccines are not viruses, so it doesn't really make sense, and they'd have to be injected directly into your brain to infect those cells. But let's just pretend that it's possible. Let's pretend that you got injected, and now all of your brain cells are infected with channel rhodopsin. If the right color light were shined on your head, it would activate all of your brain cells at once, and you would probably just have an extreme seizure. Just not good and not how the brain works. In order to change your thoughts or emotions, the virus would have to be in only certain parts of your brain, the parts of your brain that control those thoughts and emotions, which would require the virus to be precisely infused into those brain areas, which could only be done through a brain surgery. But let's just say that's possible. Well, it's very dark in your cranium and light doesn't pass through the skull, so you would either need to remove your entire skull or have the lights implanted inside of your head, in which case these purple lights wouldn't be needed. Oh, and channel rhodopsin is actually most responsive to blue light rather than purple light. So this one is definitely debunked and does not get the science seal of approval. Follow for more neuroscience and myth busting.
Well, according to this guy, it has to be like the light being shined directly onto particular synapses inside your brain in order to cause this reaction, right? This behavior modification or mind control. But maybe you remember this.
Can you imagine that in 10 years when we are sitting here, we have an implant in our brains?
Oh yeah, he said that. And we all know what Elon Musk is trying to do. Putting Neuralink all inside of everybody's brains, right? Wants us all to be able to communicate however that is supposed to be. And all they have to do when they're in there is put in some of those fiber optics that like target those specific synapses and boom, mind control. That's kind of scary. Yeah. Excuse me while I get really close, and thank you so much for stopping by today. Please do me a huge favor and hit that like button. It'll really help out my channel. And if you like this kind of content, please hit that subscribe button and come back tomorrow, because I'm making a new video every day.
The average person, no idea this is going on. No idea. They're shutting down the food supply worldwide. They are culling the livestock. They are buying up and shutting down the farmlands. They're cutting off farms from water like they're doing in Idaho, 500,000 acres of prime farmland. In Oregon, they're stopping you from growing your own food in your backyard and imposing severe restrictions to your water usage there. They are saying to reach our carbon goals, we're going to destroy the ability to produce beef, chicken, eggs, and fish. Call it whatever you want. Say it's for climate change. Say it's for health. But the outcome's always the same. You're just trying to shut the food system down. Why these people hate this, why this is a threat to them, can only be explained by literally being at war with God's creation. This is an act of war against humanity.
I really feel like it actually is a culling of humanity, like the generational depopulation plan being put into place by the World Economic Forum. They just take away a little bit of food here and a little bit of food there and a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and it makes it harder for people to have families, which makes them not have children, which reduces the population. So, that really does make a lot of sense inside of my head. That makes a lot of sense.
Okay, another day of connecting the dots, so pay attention to this one. So Idaho farmers are told to shut the water off. It's going to destroy all the farms in the area, 500,000 acres of farmland. Keep that in mind. Now, while it'd be really easy for me to just say no farms, no food and make the point there, it gets interesting. So at the end of last year, this project with Jervois, this was put on hold. It's for a cobalt mining operation, which uses a giant ton of water. Farmers are told at the end of May of 2024, shut off the water. This company is now approved for 24/7 operation of cobalt mining in Idaho. Not even a month later. And hold on, the funding comes from the government partially? Okay, hold the screen and read that first paragraph. The company's $15 million agreement in the U.S. government will reimburse Jervois using money from the Ukraine Supplemental Appropriations Act. So basically, our tax money that went to Ukraine is actually getting rerouted for cobalt mining as we destroy our own farmland? But maybe that's just a conspiracy.
So I did a tiny bit of research, and according to usgs.gov, on a global basis, the leading use of cobalt is in rechargeable battery electrodes. So those are more important than feeding the people. They turn the water off for the people in Idaho, but it's okay to turn the water on for the cobalt mining operations. And how are they getting this money diverted from the Ukraine fund? Or was it just tucked in there with the last bill that was put together to send money to Ukraine? Because everybody else has got to have their damn agenda in there so they can get a little extra money here, a little extra money there, a little extra money there to make everybody want to pass it. Because that's how that crap works, which is ridiculous. So, yeah. I did hear something that like 330,000 acres were being granted water again, but that still leaves out 170,000 acres that what's happening. So, and I don't even know if that's true. I didn't 100% fact check it. I just heard. The government's priorities certainly are interesting.
You were out there getting a chorus of questions about whether Biden should step down. There is panic that has set in. There is panic that has set in among people who have watched this debate, who are Democrats, people who are strategists, and some even inside Democratic campaigns. Yeah. Do you think it's unfounded?
Well, I think it's unhelpful, and I think it's unnecessary. We've got to go in and got to keep our heads high. And as I say, we've got to have the back of this president. You don't turn your back because of one performance. What kind of party does that? It's been a masterclass. 15.6 million jobs. That's 8 times more than the last 3 Republican presidents combined. The only thing the last 3 Republican presidents have in common is recessions. Democrats deliver. This president has delivered. We need to deliver for him at this moment. With all due respect, having these conversations go down these rabbit holes is unhelpful to our democracy, our fate and future of this country, the world. They need us right now to step up, and that's exactly what I intend to do. Worry less and do more. We have the opportunity to turn the page. We have the opportunity to put our heads down. We have the opportunity to universally have the back of this president who's had our back. You don't turn your back. You go home with the one that brought you to the dance. 100% all in. And I was very, very proud that he was able to articulate the work that he has done and lay a foundation of understanding of the lies and the deceit that continue to come out of Donald Trump's mouth.
So this guy. If you're unfamiliar with this fella, that there is Gavin Newsom. He is the governor of California and a son of a female dog. That's the guy that drove California into the ground, turned us into a steaming pile of crap. Thanks, man. But he's the guy that both parties are like, he's the one that's going to step up and take the place of Joe Biden. And we we shall see. He's being asked right there, and he's like, no, that's not helpful. We got to support the guy. I'm not going to say yes that I'm stepping up because we need to support him. No, you don't need to support him. You need to get the man some help. He's unwell. But I really think that Gavin Newsom is going to run, and a lot of people think that Michelle Obama is going to be his running mate, his vice president. Someone on Facebook pointed out yesterday that they think that Michelle Obama might just run for president. And I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Kamala Harris threw her hat in the ring with Obama as her running mate. You know, an all-female ticket. You never know.
This is video of the moon, filmed from the UK the other night. You notice anything in front of the moon? Oh yeah, there was something there. So I took a couple frames of that video and made them bigger. What the heck is that? What is that right there, over the moon? Oh, it's just something on the camera lens. Are you sure? Because as the moon rotated, that thing rotated too. See? It's moving as the moon moves. As the moon rotates, so does that weird line in front of it. What the heck could that be? I don't know what it is, but it sure is weird. Now, could that weird thing have been on the moon? I don't know. But even though it rotated with the moon, doesn't mean it's necessarily on it. It could just be floating over the moon, or just be between the moon and the Earth in general. No, I'm not sure, Booshkies, but it sure is weird. And like I said, this video was taken not long ago from the UK, and you can see that thing clear as a full moon. Like I said before, I don't know what this is, but I'd really like to hear your opinion on it. Let me know what you think that thing could have been. Let me know in the comment section, Booshkies. Shabadoo!
That guy always has such great energy. He did get one thing wrong though. The moon doesn't rotate. It is in geosynchronous orbit with the Earth, so the same side of the moon is constantly facing us. But I think maybe he meant like as the moon moved across the sky, like the Earth turned and it did its thing. It didn't actually rotate. The object stayed where it was, which makes me think it may have been like a long string of balloons or something like that. It was only filmed like 10 days ago, so if you are in England, and I know some of you are, did you see it? What is it? Did anybody like bring it up, or like was it on the news or anything? Let me know.
Something really fucking strange is happening in Hollywood right now. A few months ago, I made a video talking about how Simon Cowell's reappearance was quite strange, and about how many people truly believe that the man who returned was not Simon Cowell. Similarly, in recent events, people are claiming that the person in this video is not Britney Spears. In fact, if you pause the video on the frame right before her hand passes by her face, you can clearly see that there's a filter being placed on Britney Spears' face, and it goes away for only a split moment. And the most recent event of all, Jamie Foxx was unseen or heard from for quite some time, only to reappear in this video apologizing to his fans, claiming that he had a mysterious medical emergency which he would not identify.
I went to hell and back, and my road to recovery had some potholes as well.
And people are already saying that this person who returned is not Jamie Foxx.
I ain't no conspiracies. That ain't Jamie.
I am merely sharing public opinion. What do you guys think is going on? Let me know in the comments.
All right. While I am completely on board with there being like shapeshifters and, you know, aliens wearing skin and animatronics walking around and all that stuff, these are some pretty poor examples. Simon Cowell, yeah, he looks like hell. He got plastic surgery, and he got bad plastic surgery. As far as Britney Spears, that was probably just a filter. We see those all the time. And Jamie Foxx, dude had a freaking stroke. Okay, so that's why he looks different. Your body goes through a whole world of like just transformation, just trying to stay alive when things like that happen. So yeah, I think those were bad examples.
Well, you mentioned in one of your last talks that petroleum wasn't what we thought it was, that it wasn't a fossil fuel, that it didn't come from fossil animals.
Yeah.
Is it just a mineral? Is it a mineral like any other mineral? Is that how it? What would you say? How did it? What's the origin of
You see, when they first found petroleum because they were beginning to make motors and needed on axles of wheels on railroad trains and all that sort of thing. And remember, trains started in the beginning of the 19th century. Then oil went from just a lubricant to a fuel, and it made it valuable. And Rockefeller happened to be the smartest man in the business at the time, but he made most of his money, or much of it, off the transport of the petroleum as well as selling it. But one thing they realized was, because oil is putting a price on oil is like putting a price on a pail of water. You know, no initial cost. It's in the ground, and in those days they were, some of it, almost what you'd call surface mining the oil. They didn't go down deep. So in order to get the price up, they hit on the idea that they would have to make it appear to be scarce. Boy, after we take the next few barrels out, we're probably going to have to close this well, you know, that kind of thing. Well, a very fortuitous event. In 1892, there was a convention in Geneva of scientists to determine what organic substances are. Well, the definition of organic is a substance with hydrogen, oxygen, and carbon. And so it's usually a living substance, a tree. You analyze a tree, hydrogen, carbon, and oxygen, and grass, and so on, living things. Animals, we are hydrogen, oxygen, and carbon. So at this Geneva Convention, Rockefeller took advantage of sending some scientists over who said, oil, petroleum, is hydrogen, oxygen, and carbon. Therefore, it must be derived from the spoiling, the rotting of formerly living matter.
There are actually a lot of people that believe that it's not actually fossil fuels, but, you know, that Rockefeller said it was, so that's why it's deemed that. But I'm pretty sure it's been proven that it is actually fossil fuels. Now, I have a theory. I've mentioned it before, and I don't know if anybody else has said it also, but think about how all these billionaires are making these bunkers, right? Okay, so they know something is going to happen. And we've talked about the polar shift and how crazy that's going to be, right? And the Adam and Eve story. So if we put those together, so the billionaire bunkers are to protect them from this shift. Now, after this shift, when they emerge from their bunkers all safe and everything, they know where the population was. So in those areas is where the most concentration of oil is going to be, because is a fossil fuel. And I don't think it takes nearly as long to become a fossil fuel as is said. Like, oh, it's dinosaurs from millions of years ago and now it's a fossil fuel. I think it's a lot faster than that. And I think that's how these people continue to be, they generationally become wealthy again. I mean, they have to wait a while, but they pass it down. They're like, oh, you're gonna wanna drill in these areas. This is where it's gonna be. So that's just my little working theory. I'm still working on it. I got it kind of together. It needs to be fine-tuned a little bit, but that's what I've got. And that's where I'm gonna call it for today. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. Come on back tomorrow. We're gonna watch some new stuff. I'll say different things, and it's gonna be fantastic. Until then, have a wonderful day.